Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the study session to order and have a roll call.
Alderperson Robinson. Hurt. Maynard.
Here.
Swanson.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Poulos.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
And Mayor Tomes.
Here. Thank you very much. Public comment. I'm guessing nobody, but looking at the crowd, we got a big crowd. All right, nobody here for public comment. Then we will jump into presentation. Tom, you gonna start it off?
Thanks, Tara. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tom Flaherty. I have the pleasure of serving as your Economic Development Director. Tonight, you're going to see the first presentation of the new and revitalized Economic Development team, but this is not the last time you're going to see our team together. We have a strong and diverse economic development team made up of public and private sector personnel. And anybody that's been around me any amount of time knows that I'm a big fan of public-private partnerships. That's where the real good stuff happens. Quickly, the team is myself. We've got Tara Sipes, Economic Development Manager with the City of Rock Island. Liz Murray Tallman, Vice President, Economic Development with the Development Association of Rock Island, or DARI. Stacy McIntosh, Program Director for DARI. And Jack Cullen, the Executive Director for the Rock Island Downtown Alliance. We're here tonight to provide you with an overview of two economic development programs funded by the ARPA funds. When I was prepping to potentially take this job, I went and looked to see how the City of Rock Island was using their ARPA funds. I've served as the ARPA manager in my previous position, and that's when I came across PEP and GRIT, and I was impressed from the second I saw them. I think they're really well-designed programs, and we've got some fun stories to share with you tonight. So, without further ado, I turn it over to Liz Tallman.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. So it's been about a year since we were before you. And I thank you for your time tonight to let us celebrate this 1 year of activity. I just want to give you a quick little background. You may recall we started this process at your direction. You wanted us to take a look at what kind of business assistance programs we could come up with as it related to ARPA. You had done a survey, of the community to find out what was the best way to spend some of those great ARPA funds. And you folks went through community meetings and really did a thoughtful process in trying to identify how should we spend these funds. And so we, the economic development team, took that very seriously, and we went about creating programs based on what we had heard from our business community on what are the things that they need to help them move forward, basically post-COVID, but then also looking at long-term sustainability. What can we do to help them not only, I always say, get out of the river, if we had a flood, but looking at that long-term sustainability of making our businesses succeed and grow. And so we came before you folks in May of 2023, and we had put together two concepts at the time. One was the $500,000 for the facade program that you folks had put together in the budget. And I want to thank Samantha. She's not here right now, but she helped us guide us as far as the budget went with ARPA. And what we came up with was $500,000 for basically an enhanced facade program. We used to have the facade program, but this was property enhancement program where it would require a 50% match from the business and up to $20,000 in a grant and a reimbursement. And we had eligible activities, and it related to not just facade, but improvements to that building or to their building, and also helping them in many cases. As we know, some of our buildings are obsolete, and helping them modernize what they have currently within their business. So that was the one program that we came up with. And then the other was $750,000 for direct assistance to businesses, and we called it Growing Rock Island Together, or GRIT. And this was up to 30% match or up to $50,000 and a half. We called it a half and half. So it's a half low interest loan and a half forgivable loan / grant. And the reason we did that, the loan itself is extremely low interest, enough just to pay for the administrative costs related to the city administering that program. The other 50% is what we call a forgivable loan, and that is you create the jobs, you do your enhancement, you do the things that you said you're going to do, and at the end of the term, you, we will forgive that, or the city will forgive that, and so it becomes essentially a grant. But I think the key thing with the payback part of it, the low interest loan, that is helping us bring money back into the community so that that can be a long-term sustainable program of providing future businesses, future grit, low interest loan and grant programs going forward. So we thought in the sense of not just having a short term, let's give away money like some of our neighboring communities did, Mayor. We always kind of chuckle about that. But we really wanted to be thoughtful and then looking at the long-term sustainability. So it was the facade program and the grid. And what we're going to do tonight is talk a little bit about both. But again, the timeline, just running through that, in May 2022, 2003, you folks approved the concepts for the PEP and the GRIT programs. In June, we started the whole application process. And you may recall is that we did it through a very consolidated intake system. I know it sounds too bureaucratic, but what we tried to do is not make it bureaucratic for people. They filled out a one-pager intake form. They sent it in to Stacy. Stacy looked at it. She triaged it. Tara, Stacy, and myself sat down and figured out, okay, what programs could fit this project, and then we would invite them for a full application on the new CivicServe data platform. And it was really a pretty slick program. And what's cool about it is that now we have a system that we're able to use for all funding programs and all economic development projects. So in June 1, we started taking applications, and I think by June 30th, we had maybe 50 to 60 applications and that we were working with and processing. And so then in September, we came back to you folks again because what we identified was there was another little need there that were for like high impact projects, things that people were doing that were bigger than what PEP or GRIT were actually providing. And so we came back to you, and we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of those projects tonight. The high impact project program, and you folks approved that. So here we are today. We're celebrating our 1 year. We're going to go through and talk a little bit about the program. So overall, so far the city has funded 45 projects. The types of businesses awarded were manufacturing, entertainment, personal services, retail, food, and beverage. And it's nice to note that there's at least one funded project in each of your wards. And we've tried to be geographically, distribute the funds as much as we could citywide. But up on the board is a picture of their logos of the businesses that we provided assistance to. The one thing I do want to note and you're going to hear a little bit more about the individual programs and total investments, but it's close to $20 million. We did an economic impact on just the renovation part of it, about 15 million when you take in like construction. And our friends over at the Chamber did an economic impact. That comes out to about $18.9 million of construction economic impact in our community based on those investments that our community businesses have made. And that's about 109 construction jobs. So it's just kind of a nice little note to see on that spinoff of all these great investments happening because of our businesses. So the Commercial Property Enhancement Program, as I mentioned, we have 39 projects, a total city investment of $487,000. The amount of private sector investment on those projects was $2.8 million. And so the city's portion of the investment on these projects was about 17%. So great return on investment, right? So what I'd like to do real quickly is invite Mr. Greg Stecker to come up. He was a recipient of the PEP grant. He's invested, I think, over almost $1 million on their property in Rock Island. They have been here since 1977. They're one of our key employers. They at one time, a few years ago, were actually looking at a new facility and the possibility of leaving Rock Island. And so we are so thankful that they chose to stay here, make this great investment in Rock Island, and keep everything here and continue their growth right in Rock Island. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Greg Stecker.
Hello, everyone. Greg Stecker with Stecker Graphics. Brief history, we started in 1977 in downtown Rock Island. We were at 325 18th Street. That was my dad and my grandparents that started then. Since then, we have been in 4 different buildings in Rock Island, 2 on 18th Street. Then we opened up another facility where Wake Brewing currently is. And when we left there, we bought the building we're currently in, which was the former Lundahl Volvo building. And at the time we purchased it, it had been empty for about 6 years. But it was a really good fit for our business, which has evolved a lot over the years, from just quick printing and that kind of stuff to wrapping vehicles, commercial signs, pretty much any kind of graphics you would use for a business. I took over the business 4 years ago from my father, and last year spent about $100,000 on the property, interior, exterior. Can we show the other picture? The better one?
Yeah, so this is before, and there's an after.
Yeah, so the project, the work we did, interior, we remodeled, and then exterior, we did new parking lot, new landscaping, repainted the building, new signage, new graphics. Obviously, a huge change for us. And we still, this all finished last year. We still to this day get people coming in complimenting us on the property, how much better it looks, how good it looks these days. So I would just say about the program, it was very easy. I got an email as soon as it was live to fill out an application, and follow-up emails saying, "Did you get your application done yet?" They were all over it, and it was super easy. The rebate, the money came back right into my account once all the project was done. It was approved. There wasn't a ton of paperwork, a lot of questions, nothing like that. It was all very very smooth and easy, as a business and property owner. So I guess I would just say in closing there that hopefully this program can continue, because I think it is a great program, unique to Rock Island, that can be promoted and encourage people to invest down here and purchase properties and bring their business here. So, thank you.
Okay, so I will share a little bit about our Growing Rock Island Together program. So the PEP program that Greg utilized was really an expanded version of our facade improvement program, designed to be easy to access, make improvements. Grit was a little bit more involved, but also could cover a few more things for businesses, such as working capital or help offset property purchase costs. So 50% of that award, up to $50,000, would be a low interest loan, 50% forgivable loan, up to 30% of the project cost. We've currently awarded 7 different projects. We've got a couple more in the hopper that I hope to get to you here in the next couple council meetings. Amount of city investment so far, $451,000. Amount of private sector investment in GRIT projects, roughly $15.9 million. That includes our high impact programs that Liz will tell you more about here in just a moment. But the city's portion of investment is 3% in those projects, so killer ROI. And average award is about $69,000. So telling you about one of our projects, Lavish Salon and Spa is a woman-owned business that's been in the city of Rock Island since 2015. Up until this project, Lavish had rented a space. They employ 5 or 6 stylists, depending on the time of year. They purchased this property here, that is the home to Shops on 2nd, decided to keep 2 of the retail incubator spaces, which allows other business owners to get a leg up in a more manageable space. But part of their project, you see, they have beautiful brick walls, and they've continued to use those. This is a bridal consultation station, so weddings, bridal parties, that's a big part of the business that Lavish does, but they also offer haircuts, color, lashes, and brows. Um, this is kind of a long view of the salon there. Um, part of the project they're doing is adding a door, so they'll have access specifically to the salon and then a separate entrance for the retail spaces. Um, this is a shot of the inside, not completely finished. Amy's on vacation, so I'm speaking for her tonight, but she looks forward to hosting a grand opening celebration once the work on that door is done. She told me they've got the last two bids arriving any day, so she hopes to have those when she returns from vacation. And once that work's done, we're going to schedule a party. So we hope you all can join us to hear from Amy herself and learn a little bit more about the business. Plus, it's just a super relaxing space, and I hope you will all enjoy it. Sorry.
Okay, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the high impact project. As I mentioned, um, there we came back to you folks mainly because there was a need of two major projects, Friendship Manor, as you may recall, and that was a $12.5 million project. And you'll be hearing more about. They just started construction on that, so they'll be back here later to talk a little bit more about the when it's done, which will take about a year to get done with their project. um, but and then also Crawford. So we're going to have them come up here and talk in a minute. But I wanted to mention a couple of things. There was two tiers that we looked at. Tier 1 was a total project cost of 5 million or more, and then tier 2 was a total project cost of 1 million or more. What we tied into it is job creation, and that also looking at some of the more obsolete, functionally obsolete properties. If there's an opportunity to renovate that we wanted to take a look at that as well, as far as an eligible criteria. And the tier 1 would be up to 100,000 possibly for forgivable loan, which again could be a grant if they met all of their criteria. And then tier 2 would be a 50,000 forgivable loan, 50,000 low interest loan combination. And so that was just really an added on to the various projects. Again, 12.5 million in Crawford. Crawford, I just want to mention real quickly before they come up and talk about their project, is that this isn't just their first investment in Rock Island. They have put, I think, close to almost, I want to say 4 million over the last few years in various 7 buildings, I think, is what they have right now. But this particular project's in Sunset Business Park, and it was about taking really, really obsolete buildings, renovate them, and honestly bringing them back into the tax rolls. That they have not been out there for a while. So we'll have them talk about that. But I do want to just say that um, Crawford Company is an assortment of now, I think, 7 different divisions, and they're located elsewhere. I mean, I think they're in Dubuque, they're in Muscatine, but this is their headquarters. They have a place also in Davenport. They have over 300 employees, which is one of our largest employers in Rock Island. Their headquarters is here. And they were founded, I think, 72 years ago in Rock Island, and they have been recognized as the top 15 fastest growing companies in the Quad Cities. So we're really fortunate to have Crawford Companies here and all of the great things that they're doing, and also just the fact that they're making these major investments in some of our functionally obsolete buildings. So I'm very grateful that they're here tonight to talk a little bit about all the great things that they have been doing. So Anne Frank is the company's president, and Jim Maynard is vice president. I think that's the correct titles, correct? So thank you, gentlemen. If you want to come up and talk a little bit about your project. I think if you know how to. Yeah. Okay, there you go. All right, Ian.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for your service, all of you, not just the elected officials, but I know you guys have a really strong team here, economic development, public safety, everybody, public works, and we're real proud of everything that Rock Island does, and your team across the board is solid. So thank you. This economic development team's top notch. I've known Tom Flaherty for 20 years. Super excited for him to be here. Liz, Tara, the whole crew is excellent, and they couldn't have made this easier for us. So thank you. Jim Maynard and I are co-owners of the company. We've been there a long time. Our families started the business, and we've kind of tried to carry things on with the help of a lot of really, really good people. And I have to say, Jim and Troy Green, who I think a lot of you know, really did heavy lifting on these projects with these old buildings and spent a lot of time and energy thinking about the best way to utilize our dollars and the money that you all provided to get us the most bang for our dollars. So the building we're talking about today is 431st Street. It's on the back side of that is Mill Street, right along your bike path in the industrial park. But the investment just for this building was close to $600,000. It opened up 40,000 square feet for us for inventory tools, prefabrication work, a lot of support operations. So it directly created jobs, and they're good paying jobs, plumbing prefab, tool inventory, and then it also freed up prime real estate at Mill Street, right? So we were able to start a custom architectural products division, created 10 jobs there. We added journeyman welders in the backspace where we had all these tool cribs. So it really has paid big dividends, and it's opened up the opportunity for us to gain millions of dollars in revenue. So thank you. This is the fourth old building in Rock Island that we've worked on. Some of you might remember 31st Avenue and 8th Street. We got that thing going with your help quite a few years ago, and now we've added these three older buildings in the industrial park. So the one we're talking about, 431st Street's Crawford. Seaberg Industries, which is based in Davenport, we've actually moved 30,000 square feet of their operations into Rock Island on 4th Avenue. And then we have our L-shaped building there with a couple of tenants, fiberglass tenant, Midwest Mail Works is in there, and then we've got some extra storage facilities in there as well. But we're real happy about it. It's positioned us well, and we're going to continue to invest and continue to create jobs. We're actually just surpassed 400 this week, so I think we've added 30 jobs in the last month alone. Some of it's seasonal with construction, but we're real excited about where we're at, and we couldn't be here without you. Just a couple of quick ones before I forgot to clip through it, but there's the Sawtooth building in the before photo, and there it is with the paint and the signage on it. We've got a lot of the roof work done. There's more to go, so that's kind of a midstream effort. There's some interior photos, and there it is now, where we're utilizing it for tools in this photo and a lot of organization. We've actually improved upon it since these photos were taken as well. But I think that concludes my portion. And again, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So Mayor and Council, that wraps up our presentation. Just a quick couple highlights. We've invested about $1 million in public sector money. That has generated about $18.5 million in investment from the private sector. We've got about $312,000 remaining. We've got a number of projects that are still in the pipeline, and we will certainly keep you appraised as we make progress with these programs. And with that, we're open to any questions.
Anybody have anything?
I'm sure Jack would like more than $300,000 for the downtown help.
You've done a fabulous job. Thank you to our private sector friends for your partnership in this. Thank you to our public sector servants for our community. This is an excellent presentation and excellent work that's going on. You have thoroughly driven home the very positive return on investment that the city of Rock Island has seen for these programs. Now, these are funded through ARPA dollars. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, but thoughts on how we can continue this beyond when ARPA runs out?
Alderman, I wouldn't say you're ahead of yourself. You're right in line with where our thinking is. We're trying to figure out revenue streams to continue these programs.
Okay, well, consider me a supporter for that. I think you've demonstrated that it benefits the city of Rock Island to invest a little bit of money. and not a little bit, $1 million bucks. Second, this is a great story, and we have an excellent storyteller on our team. Thoughts on a marketing strategy? I'd love for us to sit down with, I'm just spitballing, I'm sure you're already there, but sitting down with the Quad City Business Journal and talking about this very thing, having every week highlighting one of these projects that we've done, and just so it's just a constant drip of look at this investment in Rock Island, look at this investment in Rock Island, look at this investment in Rock Island. I imagine these conversations have been taking place. Yes?
Yes, and they will continue.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, whether we work it into general fund or however we do it, I think it's a good return on our investment. Because it's one of those things that keeps giving year after year with these deals. They've made the investment. This is capital investment that these companies have made, all of them. But you look at what that springboards them to other business and more job additions as we go. So, and increased property taxes and sales tax, et cetera. So those numbers haven't even been calculated in as of yet. And so that's where it really, this is what the city of Rock Island needs to be and thrive in the future. So thank you. Thank you, both the companies here, but all of them. I mean, and I can't emphasize enough of both companies. Even before these programs, these two companies were committed to Rock Island and making investments. I've worked with Crawford for a number of years now, and I've known them. And the city of Rock Island's there and helped with a few projects, but they've done a number without the city of Rock Island. They've been able to do internally, and kudos to them for making that investment without public help. And I'm sure the Steckers has too. I know that. So, any other thoughts, questions? Job well done. And thank you, unless anybody else got anything. Thank you. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Move to second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?